Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Nikki and we will be discussing part 2 of the Single Life Season 4 tell-all. And is anyone else asking themselves how many parts this tell-all has? But we still have to cover John. We still have to cover Tyree some more. We haven't gotten into Debbie fully, really. We still have to get into Tim and Louisa drama. So there's still 4 other singles that we have to discuss. So yeah, there's a lot that we have to cover still. So let's get into it. We'll probably start with Chantel, but before we do, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. But yeah, so when we pick up with Chantel, she's still being berated by Debbie over her choices as an adult woman. And her mother is in the wings, Miss Karen. And Miss Karen is just like, she's pissed. She's like, Debbie needs to stay over there with her granny panties. And so she comes to the stage and she's decked out in this disco diva bodysuit. She looks great. And so her and Chantel have this moment and it's really playful. So Chantel playfully slaps her mom's butt. Debbie looks appalled. I don't know if she was expecting for her and Karen to join forces and double team on Chantel. That's not what was going to happen. And so Debbie is telling Karen, we're mothers. We have to protect our daughters. Basically, we have to protect them from sending out the wrong message. And Karen is like, my daughter can respect herself and still be in touch with her sexuality, sensuality. The way she chooses to express that doesn't devalue her. She just kept saying we, and Karen is like, speak for yourself. We lead our lives a different way. Debbie just kept going on and on about how you're not an object and you need to put yourself out as more than that. And it's a vacation. It's a divorce vacation at that. Let people live. I'm sure Debbie was out here when she was young. I can't deal with patronizing speeches. Chantel's being super respectful, I have to say. She's obviously annoyed, but she's not going to disrespect Debbie. And so we get to the Giannis segment, and it's honestly a minute and a half of all of us just watching them make out. John, in her very sly way, is like, so does Giannis meet your criteria? And she goes down the list one by one, which ultimately she just wanted to get Chantel to say whether or not he has a nice package. But Chantel is sticking to the story that they haven't been intimate, so she doesn't really know. So of course, Debbie can't keep her mouth shut, and she's like, the size shouldn't matter. We're looking for something more. And I'm just like, Debbie, who's we? Why do you keep adding yourself to Chantel's equation? There's no we. What she does and what you do have nothing to do with each other. Again, you have made some questionable choices, so why do you feel so empowered to speak like you hold all the wisdom? You literally moved to Morocco to chase a 24-year-old at your big age. We need to really look within and not yell from glass houses. Finally, Giannis is brought into the segment, and Karen, this is her moment, okay? She just starts asking him a bunch of questions that are very blatantly pointed. She's like, I've dealt with a Pedro. I don't want that again. So she's like, do you have siblings? How many? How old are they? You have a sister? Okay. How does she act with your girlfriends? Does she meddle? Do they get along? And Chantel's like, okay, mom, But Karen is determined to not relive the same thing over again. And she tells him, she's like, if you want to come to America, it's not going to be on our dime. It has to be 50-50 effort. And Giannis could have been offended by that. He didn't show if he was. All he said was that he doesn't expect anyone to help him if he were to do that. And overall, he seemed pretty level-headed through her questioning. However, things take a turn with them when everyone is asking him oh, so when are you guys gonna see each other? And he's giving a bit of a roundabout answer. He's not giving a timeline. He's just like, oh yeah, we're talking about it and we're, figuring out with our schedules. Everyone starts to kind of jump on him because they're like, it sounds like this isn't really a priority to you. It sounds like you haven't made any effort to research. And those things could be true, but I also think that they saw each other 4 months ago. Traveling is expensive. From Greece to America, that's a pretty penny. We don't really know what his financial situation is. Like, sure, he's in a professional soccer team, but I don't know if he's like a really good player. We don't know how much he's making. We don't know what his responsibility is in Greece. We don't know anything other than he's a hot guy that had a moment with Chantel. So there could be so many things at play. And so I felt bad for him when they were ganging up on him, but I did find it interesting that he didn't even do research on whether or not he would need a visa to come here. Like, there was no sense of curiosity, and that is worrisome. And so then Sean is like, oh, well, Giannis has no idea how present Chantel's ex is in her relationship. And so I'm like, are they about to show like a montage of Chantel and Pedro together? Not exactly. They proceed to show Giannis and everyone else the first episode, basically, of when Chantel first arrives to Greece, when she has that motorcycle ride and starts making out with the rando. And then they also show her panic attack that she had afterwards, where she starts spiraling about repeating the same things that she did with Pedro. And that, I felt so bad. One, Chantel was very emotional, visibly emotional. But then Giannis also looked concerned, like I don't think he realized just how raw that wound is for her still. I guess they didn't talk about it in depth, at least. It was so hard to watch that Chantel walked off, and she's just embarrassed, and she's backstage with her mom, and she's just like, watching myself be so broken is triggering, and every time I make a few steps to healing, reliving those moments like I did on that stage, like it brings me back. And I do gotta say, like, I understand that that's what the tell-alls are for, right? To get into the nitty-gritty of it. But I just thought that was they did Chantel so dirty. I didn't like how that went. They left her very exposed, and there was no sense of like aftercare. And then of course, Sean continues to, question Giannis. She's like, oh, so now that you see her reaction, like, how do you feel? And Giannis is like, he's like, I didn't realize how affected she still is by that divorce. And ultimately, he's like, I don't think that she is in the right headspace to be in a new relationship. I think that she needs more time to heal. And in the line of questioning, it sounds like he's breaking up with her, except that Chantel isn't even on set. She's backstage, so she didn't hear any of that honest response that he gave. And so when she comes back to the stage, the response that he gives isn't as transparent. Because when she was backstage, he said that that's one of the reasons why he wasn't in a rush to come to America, because her divorce is sort of recent. And he hadn't communicated that to her face to face. And so when she did get back on stage, he didn't say that. He just said, you need time. And Chantal disagrees. She's like, I believe that you can meet people as you're healing. And it's clear that they're not on the same page, and she's hopeful that they'll see each other again. And he still says, like, yeah, for sure, for sure. But then when she gets backstage and everyone, particularly Veronica, is like, actually, he said this, this, and this. Like, it's over, girl. Yeah, that entire conversation between her and Giannis was very awkward. It's just disappointing that they couldn't have that conversation off camera. And it sounds like he should have been more honest about where he was at. And again, I have said from the beginning, Chantel, you just got divorced. Go to Greece, throw some ass, have some fun, kiss all the boys you want, but you're not going to find your husband here. You need time. You need to date. You need to kiss a lot more frogs. And so I hope that in hearing Giannis, she, reflects and takes her time because she deserves it. And I think love will come to her. She's super intelligent, super beautiful, is so ambitious, has her own, like, she's gonna be fine. She just needs to take her time to really protect herself and do things as sanely as possible. But speaking of not being sane, let's move on to Natalie, okay? Natalie has been really calm most of the tell-all. She has said her little comment here and there, but for the most part, she's been there to support people, right? Because I think that she's just been really nervous because she knew that it wouldn't be pretty for her. And that's exactly what happened. Natalie is struggling in LA, okay? She's realizing that LA does not take walk-ins, that you do need connections, that you don't just get by because you're pretty and you're exotic like she thought. Let's be honest. And so she's struggling. And that's not laughable. To struggle to be an immigrant, to feel like you're alone, that isn't funny. But we need to take responsibility for our actions. And that's what this segment should be about. But of course, that's not what it's about. It's about her and Josh and their cuckoo merry-go-round that they're in. They rehash the breakup. They show the epic fight. And it's intense. It's a lot. And it's so emotional that even Chantel is crying for Natalie. Like, it's heavy stuff. And so in comes Josh to the stage, and he goes and kisses her, and she's like stoic. She's not really moving, and everyone, calls it out. They're like, okay, you went in to kiss her, but she's not doing anything. And Josh is like, yeah, I noticed. It's weird because we just slept together. She slept over last night. Y'all, Natalie lives for the drama. She loves to act like men are just going after her when really she's the lovesick puppy over him. But of course, in front of everybody, she's going to play this part. She lives for the drama. It's so chaotic. So Josh is there, and then for some reason they bring in Caesar, as you guys remember Caesar, and Colt's mom, Debbie. So I don't know if you guys recall, in the last season of the tell-all, Natalie and Josh were in the same predicament. So Josh was at the tell-all, and Colt's mom, Debbie, was a cast member. And so they were going at it. They despised each other. Like, Josh went as far as saying that Debbie needs a muzzle because she wouldn't shut up. So they do not like each other, okay? It's gonna be juicy, right? And Caesar, I guess he's here because he likes dating Ukrainian women. That's his preference. He's been catfished by one. So Josh lets us know that they had broken up and they, weren't in touch for months. And then something happened where she got in an accident in the car that he bought. And she reached out to him for help. And ever since then, they've been glorified friends with benefits. But of course, Natalie wants more. And so she recognizes that they've had this convo over and over before. And she's like, how can you sleep with me and say that we're nothing? He's sleeping with you because you let him. You call him. You go over. Like, you can put a stop. He's not forcing you into this. Like, I've been in toxic spells with people where it does feel like, God, why don't you just let go of me? But this man is blatantly being like, I don't know why you're here. I mean, while you're here, let's do this. But I didn't send for you. That's literally his approach. He's nice while you're there, and I think that's what's confusing for her. Because the relationship is one-sided. If he wanted to be with her, he simply would, and he does not. But she believes that if she bulldozes her way into his presence, into his life, into his day-to-day, they're going to be together. And that's not working. And when they, ask him, like, so what are the reasons that you guys aren't together? He at first tries to avoid it. He tries to get out of it. But ultimately, he's like, her tantrums, her jealousy. I can't have that around my daughter. That's why I don't bring her to my place. I can't have her in my space like that. Because she is erratic and she is a ticking time bomb. So, like, I get it. But I also believe that that's just one excuse. I feel like there's more. I just wish that he was more direct with her because I think his actions say it completely. But I think she needs to hear it because it's not connecting in her brain. And so then they show us a conversation between him and his business partners. We had seen a bit of it on the show, but this is like an extended version where they reveal that they're like, we see all the transfers that you're making from our account, money to Natalie, helping her at every turn. She's being a nuisance when we're in meetings. She keeps calling and interrupting. You look frazzled. You don't look present. Like, they're getting a lot of insight, calling her a bunch of names. And Josh, defended her in the conversation, but he also laughed when they called her names. And, I got major secondhand embarrassment for Natalie. No one ever wants to hear people breaking you down like that. And while they said some truths, it's still a tough pill to swallow. And so Natalie, of course, is super offended and she's like, how could you guys say things like that about me? I'm here by myself. I'm here in this expensive city. And she just starts listing all these things about woe is me. And I'm just like, ma'am, he's not your boyfriend. He's not your man. He's not claiming you in any way. Why would you want to force someone to be with you? That is not going to give you the satisfaction that you think it's going to give you. Josh, like, he may be nice, but he's causing more harm than good. And being so helpful and so generous and being so understanding, it's only enabling her delusion. I feel like if you don't want anything to do with Natalie, you have to stop being intimate with her. You have to stop giving her access to you because she just wants more. So I feel like they're both to blame for this chaos. I would love to know what you guys think because this is honestly the material that soap operas are made of. Okay? But they do get to the bottom of it. Josh flat out is like, I never told her to come here for me. If anything, when she was like, I want to move to LA because of Hollywood and all this stuff, he was like, make sure you're not coming here because of me. Make sure. You see her start to be like, that's not true, but then she shuts up. Because, yeah, she thought that moving there was going to force him to be with her. But she was lying to herself and to everyone. Because as you guys recall, in the first few episodes, she was like, yeah, I'm moving to Hollywood to reach my dreams. And Josh happens to be there. But the truth is, she moved there because she wanted to get married. She wanted to have kids. And she's forcing and projecting all these things on someone that does not want it. And so everyone is questioning him at this point. They're like, it's clear that you're just, fucking around. Like, you're obviously getting pleasure out of it, but you obviously don't feel like she's good enough to meet your kids. And he's like, just not yet. That's not where we're at. We're not even a couple. And Natalie, she's hearing it, but she's not computing. You know what I mean? And so the ending part of the episode is that Josh's business partners come to the stage and you could see them trying to be really politically nice with Natalie. They're like, listen, we are straight shooters and we said what we said. Obviously, in spending more time with you, like, we can see that you are passionate, but X, Y, and Z could also be true. And they really couldn't even continue saying what they were saying because Colt's mom, Debbie, just kept going at it with Josh. Ultimately, they're like, listen, we respect Natalie. Yes, she's passionate, but she's also needy. And it's being detrimental to our business. And so then this leads them all to then asking Josh, like, if you don't want to be in a relationship with her, then why are you so generous financially. Like, you're kind of acting like a sugar daddy. Like, you guys are being intimate, but she doesn't have access to anything else but your money. And you can see Natalie's wheels spinning at this point, and she does not like what's happening. And so they start to explain to Josh how it can look that way, but they're not making an accusation about Natalie or what she sets out to do, but she's hearing, oh my God, Tim is calling me a sex worker. And all hell breaks loose. And so she's going off, you guys, on, and everyone just looks like, oh my God, when is this gonna end? Like, they can't even get a word in. And that's where the episode ends. I would love to know where it's gonna end in the next episode. I had seen in a preview for the tell-alls, because I don't know how many we're gonna get, that Michael is gonna come in at one point. There's so much to cover. I can't even believe. I would love to know what you guys thought about the whole Natalie and Josh thing. I would love to know your stance on the Chantel thing. Are you team Debbie? Are you more modern like Chantel? What are your thoughts on the Giannis situation? Do you think that he was just there for TV, or do you think that his intentions were pure? I would love to know. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like and do all that good stuff. And make sure to subscribe if you haven't. I will be posting recaps weekly. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.